All right, well, good afternoon to all of you watching on Ohio News and Weather. We do have some news, obviously. We knew the threat was continuing to increase overnight tonight, or last night, I should say, and the threat is increasing for this evening. And we just had our first round of watches being issued, and we did expect one to be issued for portions also to Indiana, but then they issued another discussion saying they were going to issue another watch for most of northern Ohio, which is what they have done at this point. So let's go ahead and dive into it real quick. I'll get you up to speed here for just a second. We'll turn on the map here. This is what we got going on as far as a tornado watch. The actual specific counties map has been posted on our social media pages, as well as you can see them scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And then if you know where you're at on a map, hopefully you can see right here in front of you these counties that are shaded in this light yellowish color, or green, depending on your screen. This goes until 11 p.m. tonight. So this is a tornado watch, which means conditions are favorable for the development of severe storms, including tornadoes. So the Storm Prediction Center has the ability to issue a severe thunderstorm watch or tornado watch due to the particular setup of this atmospheric condition tonight. They elected to do a tornado watch because there could be some discrete supercells that have some rotation with them, which could spin up some tornadoes. So the tornado threat is becoming a little bit more predominant, although overall it still is on the lower end. I do think we're going to see more straight line damaging winds, and also you're going to see some very large hail in some of these cells. And not all of these cells are going to be producing these baseball size hail, but in very select portions of them, we could see some very large hail. And then again, they're kind of go back and forth. The discussion was saying 2.5-inch hail. They officially went with 2-inch hail in this particular watch. So this watch, again, goes until 11 o'clock. This is Tornado Watch 75. You can see here the max hail that they're calling for is 2-inch hail. And then they went with wind gusts of up to 80 miles per hour. Tops up to 40,000 feet, which is something that we normally we don't see really this time of year, if you will. So that's kind of interesting. And around this area in general, that's still pretty high, and especially this time of year. So just to put it in reference for you, when we see hail, and I'm sure maybe you've seen some of this on social media pages, but when we get into that 2-inch mark hail, it's definitely what we consider what's called hen egg size hail. For reference, golf ball size hail is 1 3/4 inch or 1.75. Then we go up to what's called hen egg hail, if you will, at 2 inches, and then a baseball is 2.5 inches. So it falls between golf ball and tennis ball size hail. Baseball size hail is 2 3/4 inch hail. So we're talking about the severity of some pretty good hail tonight, and then obviously we do have that threat of tornadoes and straight line damaging winds. And I also have alluded to early this morning when I posted my forecast discussion this morning about the severe weather and the severe weather update from the Storm Prediction Center. I still think we're going to see localized flooding. We're going to see some torrential downpours and some high rainfall rates that could go 1 to 2 inches an hour. So it's a good old-fashioned thunderstorm, a good old setup to kind of start our severe weather season. We have handled these types of storms before. Again, I don't want you to be scared. Be prepared is kind of always the phrase that I've used for a very long time, even before others have picked that phrase up. I've used that a very, very long time. So be prepared. Don't be scared. Let's take a look right now at the surface map. Let's take a look at the base reflectivity of what's going on. Shouldn't say the surface map, but let's take a look here. I'm going to turn off that watch box for a moment. This is kind of the current setup here. I'm going to zoom out. You can kind of see this line of storm starting to fire up across the Great Lakes region, across Michigan. Not as intense yet as we tap into some of this fuel, if you will, and this instability as it gets towards our area. We do expect things to fire up, and we do have this position in place. Things are ready to rock and roll here this afternoon. I am definitely not Ryan Hall, but I had the phrase first. So looking at that comment, I just had to giggle. But this is what we got. And So you're starting to see that line start to fire up. Some of you are getting some stray showers just out ahead of this, which was to be expected. But this main line, as it continues to dive south over the next couple of hours, this is what we're going to have to watch. So let's go ahead and turn this off for a minute. I'm going to flip over to the HRRR modeling data. Gives us a little bit of what the future radar is going to look like here in just a few minutes. Now, again, this is at 4 o'clock. This is more current at 5 o'clock. We're not seeing anything develop strong over the lake at this point, but as we continue to dive in here, this is 6 o'clock. Look at the model time, not the actual radar time up here. We're at 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock. You start to see the more bigger formulations start to fire up coming across as that first dive comes through, that first front and the first line of storms, and then it continues to increase here. We're at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then that's really where it starts to get organized. Now, I will tell you that and here's even 10 o'clock, so you can kind of see lots of heavy rain with that. And really we're worried about that main front. So that's kind of where we're at. Once that main line gets passed, it starts to really form up here. Once it gets past you, you're going to be fine. Just going to deal with some heavy rain. So I will tell you modeling data, looking at different models, and everybody seems to be a forecaster or meteorologist today. It's their favorite hobby because I get thousands of comments and people looking at things about, I can do this, I can do that, and, I can read a model data too. But the model data is inconsistent across the models. I've seen models that overplayed this. I've seen it underplay this. So we're going to take the average. This is about the closest one that I think is going to happen. I do think it's going to be a little bit more organized than what they're showing right now, especially based on current trends. If I turn this off, let's just turn this back off and go back to base velocity. Kind of looking at that, I do expect this line across the northern Michigan, or I say northern Michigan, but the middle of Michigan here, I expect that line to start to dip south and intensify as it does. So we still are at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We are still in a warm trend. Temperatures outside of this it's going to be very interesting to see over as we continue. You're going to see temperatures drop 30 degrees in the matter of minutes as this front approaches through. The setup kind of looks like this. You could see that frontal boundary. As I turn that on, we're set up right on cue with this front as it continues to dive south here. And that's what we're going to have to continue to watch as we go over the next couple of hours. Let's look here at, I wanted to look here at some observations. Let me look at some surface observations here. Air temperature, let's go ahead and turn that on, see if it'll populate. Let me turn on the METARs. Give it 1 second, maybe. There we go. Temperatures, here we go. So you can see temperatures, 70s across basically all of Ohio. We're crossing maybe up towards 80. That was the latest report just outside. I believe that's Toledo. That's not Metcalf, but that's Toledo Express. Oh, no, that's not Toledo Express either. Where is that one? Oh, that's at the other METAR station up there. But looking here, you could see 80s down in Dayton, but 70s, lower 80s kind of being a trend across Ohio right now. See what happens when that front moves through, dipping back into the 40s. And that's kind of where we're going to be tomorrow as well across most of Ohio. So you're going to see as that front moves through, you're going to see temperatures drop considerably as that front continues to move through this evening. So it got very warm today. Temperatures a little bit on the warmer side. I would say warmer than we expected, but they definitely peaked on that higher side of what we wanted. We got plenty of moisture in the air. Dew points are right around 50 to 60 around Ohio, upper 50, 66 checking in down towards Cincinnati, in between Cincinnati and Dayton. But we're looking at that as well. And so we're really primed. The atmosphere is primed and ready to go. And let's go back to the severe watches here, the tornado watch that the Storm Prediction Center has issued. So anywhere in this county, I'll turn off the radar, is in a tornado watch until 11 p.m. tonight. And again, they're calling for winds up to 80 miles per hour, and they're calling for up to 2-inch hail with some of these storms. So on the severe side of things, the Storm Prediction Center doesn't normally issue a tornado watch for no good reason. They could issue a severe thunderstorm watch, but they do feel strongly today with the current setup that we could see some discrete supercells and some rotating supercells that could develop some pretty strong tornadoes. Not for everybody. Same thing goes with hail. Not everybody's going to see that hail that we keep seeing on social media. Some areas that are very discrete And when we get that nice upflow going, that's where you're going to see that hail. On these tops of these storms, where the highest of those are, that's where we're going to see it. So as the storm continues to build, the higher the storm goes in the atmosphere, the longer that rain has to fall, and the longer that stone freezes, the bigger it gets. So when we see tops very high, that's when we're starting to see large hail, as we're seeing today, which we're seeing. They're calling for what they call hen egg size hail at 2 inches. We have 2.5 inch, which is tennis ball size hail. That's kind of what they were discussing earlier. But I would say golf ball size hail isn't out of the question for a lot of people, but we do have to be very, very careful, especially with cars and vehicles and things outside, and or yourself being outside. You don't want to get caught up in a hailstorm while driving. So the best thing is to let it pass. So this is something we're considering. It's primed and ready to go. We do have a special weather balloon launch that went up. It is pretty much saying we're ready to rock and roll. And let's look at I'm going to look at a couple other things here for you. Just some safety things here. Don't forget you can download our app. You can download it in the App Store or Google Play Store. It will give you those alerts. You can customize those alerts. You can follow the radar, all of that sort of thing if you so desire. I also want to call out, and you can see in just a moment, they issued a severe thunderstorm watch for Indiana. It just popped up on my screen as well. So don't forget, tonight, if there is a tornado warning issued, please get to the lowest level of your house and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Flat out, if you get caught up in a tornado warning, don't take a video of the tornado, because the odds are this thing is going to be rain wrapped tonight. You're not going to get a good video of it, and it could cost you your life. So don't do that tonight. Make sure you heed the warnings carefully. So right now we're under a watch, which means conditions are favorable. So reviewing that severe weather plan is important. Know where to go. Make sure you get to that lowest level of your house as you can and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. That is the most important thing to do. Cover your neck and head. If you're in a mobile home situation, you need to find your designated shelter or get out of there, because mobile homes can be picked up and ripped apart very, very quickly. We don't want a replay of what happened in Indian Lake and some of the other areas with some of these tornadoes that has happened. So again, biggest thing, if you have a tornado warning, get to the lowest level of your house and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Cover your neck and head. This is stuff that we've been preaching, and everybody's been preaching to you forever, as we start to see this shift of, I wouldn't say Tornado Alley, but more of storms, and even some tornadoes down in the Miami Valley. We're starting to see more tornadoes down there as well, but we're starting to see more and more of these type of setups. So make sure that you keep your head going, or keep your head in the game, if you will, and make sure, I'm trying to read and do two things at once. Make sure that you keep your eyes and ears peeled, and make sure you have a way to receive warnings before you go to bed, especially if you're in southern Ohio, as these will track down there tonight. So if it's a nighttime tornado, please make sure you have some way to receive warnings. No weather radio is great. Cell phone's great. Flashlight and shoes ready. Just make sure you have all of those things for you. And finally, charge your devices. Pretty straightforward. Just charge your devices. Get them on the charger now in case you lose power. It's one of your life-saving devices. It's a communication line, and it can alert you if you have the app. And again, you can download our app if you wish, but it's a life-saving tool as well in case you need help. So again, you could download the app in the App Store. You could submit pictures in there to us. We love to see that stuff as well. So just kind of want to go through some of that stuff. Let's go back to the live scene here. The Storm Prediction Center issued to our west a severe thunderstorm watch until midnight for portions of northern Indiana. This one, I was kind of expecting to see this one first, but we got ours in Ohio first. So very, very interesting. They expect the stronger of the line to be coming over Ohio. And again, I'll turn back on the base velocity. This is kind of where things sit right now. Things will be cranking up here within the next 2 hours. So depending on where you're at, especially across northern Ohio, things will continue to crank up and get a little bit cranky here over the next couple of hours. I'll flip the model data on here for you just one more time. Again, we gotta take this with a grain of salt. I'm gonna do I'm going to try this one. This one may be a little bit more succinct. This is showing 7 o'clock. This had a bad handle on it. A lot of model data has had a bad handle on it. But this is showing where we're at now, which is kind of right. But that main line starts to fire up about 7 coming in from northern Michigan and then starts to approach Ohio around 8. I do think the timing on that sped up just a little bit. If we compare this model to the HRRR model, this is kind of what we're showing at 8 o'clock. So, again, just depends on the battle of models on what's going on. I do think that line continues to dip south, and we'll have to watch these discrete cells. You can see these discrete cells pop up that could issue some rotation and tornadic thunderstorms. I am so sorry. I know there's a lot of people asking me about what's this town, what's this town, what's this town. It is virtually impossible to answer you. Please download our app, and please make sure you keep it informed that way. We have plenty of data also on the social media pages to read about, and you can kind of look at that. I just really wish I could answer all those, but there's so many comments in there. It's kind of crazy. There's 931 incorporated municipalities in Ohio, depending on the day, sadly. So it's a lot of people to cover. So 931, I can't answer all 931 of you. I wish I could. So cities and villages, and we include all that, we're about 930 towns and villages and all that. So I'm sorry, I can't answer them all. And 88 counties. So please, and I'm not trying to be mean about that, but just go ahead and read the social media pages and the stuff that we have posted based on that. So let's turn this back on. Turn back on base velocity. Let me turn off the model data so you don't get confused. And this is kind of current. So we're looking at current radar, and we're looking at the watch behind it goes until 11 o'clock. So just keep that in mind. And I actually am off at 6 p.m. So if you're watching me, I'm sorry. I get off at 6 o'clock. Mark Spencer takes over at 6. So any streams or things like that, Mark Spencer will do past 6 o'clock. I may hang around a little bit. I got some other commitments to do, but I may hang around a little bit if I need to help him out. I do have some commitments here at home to take care of, and yes, I'm right in the bullseye of this. Hey, we got our first severe thunderstorm warning, and for Ashtabula and Trumbull County, let's go ahead and roll up to that, and let me go ahead and flip to another radar for you real quick. Let's see here. Give me one quick second. I'm queuing up some other things here for you. That little storm is getting a little up there. It's getting there. All right. Hey, so this new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued a moment ago is for northeastern Trumbull County and southeastern Ashtabula County until 5:45 p.m. So we're looking at a storm that's right around Orwell, about 16 miles south of Ashtabula. They're indicating 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail with this particular storm cell. So just a nice little discrete cell that popped up there over the lake. Let me get you a better view here. Let me turn on the Cleveland radar and filter off our composite. Let's go ahead and flip this on. I'm going to turn off the watches because we know about that. And let's go ahead and turn on the actual radar out of Cleveland and get a closer look at this thing so you can see what's going on. Give it just 1 second here to queue up, and let me go ahead and put it in. That's not what I want. Let me go ahead and put it here in velocity and reflectivity, I mean, from velocity, and there we go. So here's kind of what we're seeing right now. Some of those lines starting to fire up. Here's our first severe thunderstorm warning. Again, basically for portions of Ashtabula County, but also eclipse a little bit there of Trumbull County. And this goes until 5:45. So that's our first one. So kind of looking at live radar here, this is what we got going on. Some of this stuff coming off the lake getting a bit cranky. Again, you're not seeing a good clip of this up in Michigan. Let me go ahead and flip open to KTDX out of Detroit and show you kind of that line that's starting to fire. Again, not overly impressive on the Detroit radar, but it hasn't dipped into that untapped potential here across northern Ohio. And when it does, that's when we go matching the gas tank, boom, boom, like what's eating Gilbert Grape. So that's what we're looking at right now, and that's the considerations, and that's what we have in plan board. So I'm going to sum it up like this. I'm not going to stay live. I'm not going to overhype this at all. We've dealt with storms like this before. All right, I'm going to turn the watch box back on as well. We've dealt with storms like this before. Don't be scared. Be prepared. We're going to get through this. Not everybody is going to see this hail that they've been talking about. You're probably going to see some very, very heavy rains in portions of this, and a select few people could see some hail and isolated stronger tornadoes. That's it. You guys have the game plan. Again, relax the anxiety. Some people have anxiety. Relax that a little bit. We here at Ohio News and Weather are very much active tonight. Mark Spencer takes over the live forecast or live broadcasting at 6, but we have our entire team that's behind the scenes actually check it in with us tonight. So we have lots of people, and the nice thing, and when you do these broadcasts and things, the nice thing that I like about it is we have a team behind the scenes that are able to communicate with us and keep an eye on something that maybe I couldn't see because I'm trying to do all the controls for the live, so it's nice. Isolated spin-ups, although you could have some longer track tornadoes tonight. That was a question I just seen pop out of the corner of my screen, and yeah, that is possible. There are some brief spin-ups, but due to the rotating supercellular type storms that they could expect, you could see some longer ones tonight. So that's not out of the question. So that's kind of where we're at. Again, you have a plan. It's okay. Have a severe weather plan. Know what to do. Get to the lowest level of your house, put as many walls between you and outside as possible. Get out of that mobile home if you're in one during a tornado warning, and cover your neck and head. That's the biggest thing. We'll get through this. Again, Mark Spencer is going to take over at 6 o'clock. If there's a need for me to come back live before then, I will do so. But again, Mark takes over and the entire team, including me. I'll be behind the scenes with him, but he could take over from the green wall at 6 o'clock. So take care of yourself. Keep it tuned here to Ohio News and Weather. Download our app. Also, we will continue to come back live as needed, so keep the notifications on for the page. We will continue to come back live as we need to. I am sure we'll be back live tonight based on the current trends. And Mark, again, takes over at 6 o'clock. So stay safe, be prepared,